Hey, what's up, everybody? Jody Opinionated Window Cleaner coming at you. Now, today we're going to do a video that's going to take a little bit of time, so bear with me if you're watching this. This is going to be a little bit of a long video. I apologize. But we're going to talk about something in the industry that we see all the time. Everybody seems to have a problem with it. Well, I won't say everybody. A lot of people seem to have a problem with it. And I'm going to tell you how to come up with your numbers. And it's how to price a job. Guys, so many people don't understand how to price a job, and I'm going to break it down for you and let you understand how you figure out your pricing. First of all, before we can even start pricing a job, in order to do that, we have to figure out a budget. Now, some of you are saying, Joe, no, I tuned in to watch how to price a job. I get that. But in order to price a job, you got to know your budget. And let me explain this. If you don't know your budget, you don't know how much you need to make each day to be profitable. So if you don't know how much you need to make each day to be profitable, you now don't know how much to charge per hour or the amount of time it's going to take to do the job to make money. So any pricing you're doing is you're basically just throwing a dart at a bulletin board to say, well, I hope it sticks. So let's start with the budget. On your budget, there's several things you got to figure out: fixed costs and fluctuating costs. The fixed costs are going to be things like insurance, phone, rent, vehicle payment, electric bill, things that you got to pay every month that's going to repeat themselves, that are pretty much going to be the same thing each month. That's your fixed cost. Your fluctuating costs are your payroll, your gas, your supplies, your maintenance, travel, equipment, advertising, and then you add it. We'll go over the rest of that in just a second. Now, do yourself a favor. If you're going to watch this video, pause it right now, go and get a pen, and write this down as I'm saying it, because it'll make it a lot easier for you to understand what I'm getting ready to explain to you. If we do our payroll, and let's say it's 45%, so we write down 45% of everything we bring in, we know is going to payroll. Now, the way I figure that, that's my guys' paychecks, which equals about 30% of the company, my office manager's check, plus my check. So it's 45%. Then we figure out that we got gas. I'm going to estimate the gas should be about 5%. Now, some of these costs will fluctuate from week to week, and I'll get into that in just a second. Supplies. We all know we're in a service industry. We're going to need different supplies, whether it's chemicals, whatever. You're going to need supplies. So let's do that at 5%. Maintenance. Hopefully the maintenance is not costing you a whole lot, but I always include a line for maintenance each week, and I do that at 2%. And like I said, I'll explain to you that 2% in just a minute. Travel. Now, a lot of you guys, well, this won't be a factor on your budget, but on my budget, it's something I have to include because we do so much going out of town work and things like that. So, you know, from time to time, I got to stay in hotels and things like that, and I got to include that in the price. So I do that at 3%. Equipment. Important thing. We're always going to be want to upgrade our equipment. Never be satisfied with what you got. Always try to be upgraded, but do it within a budget. So I do equipment at 4%. Like I said, we're getting to explain all this in just a minute. Advertising. Guys, you should be spending money on advertising every week in whatever form. I'm not going to tell you how to advertise. That's up to you guys. But unless you're just a miracle worker and you open your company up yesterday and you got 1,000 people calling you every day, you need to be advertised. And so I do advertising at 15%. Now, the fixed cost, everything we talk about in the fixed cost needs to be in here at 10%. So let's go over each individual line item and see why we're doing this. The payroll, I explained, that's my employees, my office manager, and my check. That's going to be pretty much 45% every week is what I'm going to pay out. I know some of you guys are going to say, that's too much. I'm not asking you to run my budget. I'm telling you what mine is. You can change these numbers up how you want to. They can be wherever you want them to be. Gas, 5%. So let's say we figure 5% on gas this week, and we don't spend 5%. We only spend 2%. No big deal. We got an extra 3% there. We just saved ourselves. We save that and put that in a file called miscellaneous. Supplies, same thing. 5% is what we're figuring. We might not use 5% of the supplies. We might turn around and take and only use 4% of supplies. So now we got an extra percentage here. So we just saved ourselves, I said 2% on the gas and 1% on the supplies. Now, the maintenance. Oh, shoot, we only got 2% figured there. But you know what? We had a machine go down. We had to get it repaired. It actually ended up being 4%. It's okay. We saved in these other departments. So we're still equaling or keeping it staying in our budget. And that's what you got to look at. You got to look at each individual line item. And then you got to add line items up at the end of the week and see where you need to cut back and where you need to increase your spending. Equipment. This is an important one. 4% I'm figuring each week for equipment. And you say, well, damn, Joe, you buying a lot of equipment. Not really. That equipment can be cut back if I need to and moved into another department or another line item to save us some money. Or I can take that 4% of equipment and stockpile it. Take 4%, set it to the side, 4% this week, set it to the side. Every week I don't need to spend that. And you know what? Next thing you know, I got the money to buy a big piece of equipment that I need. Think about it, guys. The advertising, 15%. So I might do 10% this week. Have an extra 5%. Or I might go over 20%. Either way, if I go over, I got to turn around, take, and justify it somewhere else. Now, if we do all this stuff, and like I said, if you went back and wrote down every percentage that I was telling you about, at the end of the week, we have 89% spent on a 100% scale. So I just made an 11% profit. Well, that ain't a whole lot. You say, Joe, I mean, you only made 11% profit. 11% after all the bills got paid. Understand what I'm saying? $550. That's profit for 1 week. So if we manage to do this every week, 50 times 52, we have a $30,000 profit at the end of the year. That's only doing $5,000 a week. Guys, you can change these numbers up to fit you however you want, but you need a budget sheet, and every week you need to be tracking what percentage of each thing you are spending. Yes, sometimes the budget's going to be a little bit out of whack because you go over here and don't do it here, vice versa, but you need to be tracking this stuff. If you will do this, this will be the biggest thing in your company you've ever started doing. You will see where your money is going. If you're not seeing where your money's going, you cannot cut back where it needs to be done. Now, along with this budget, I now know for me to make $30,000 profit this year, and I'm just doing it at $5,000 because that's an easy number a week, I got to do $5,000. So I want to work 5 days a week. So now I break it down. I know I got to do $1,000 a day because I want to work 5 days a week. Well, there you go. Now I know in order to turn around, take, and be profitable and make a profit, I have to do $1,000 a day. So when I go look at a house, I'm looking at how many hours I'm going to be on it that day. I got to make the end of the day equal $1,000. So if I'm figuring I'm going to work 10-hour days, each one of my hours that I work should be $100. Pretty simple. Now I know how to price the job. So all I got to do is go out to any property, look at how long it's going to take me, figure that out. Once I figure out how long I think it's going to take me, I multiply them hours by 100, and now I have my number. Now, is there going to be weeks your budget's going to be off and you're going to be over? Yes. Is there going to be weeks your budget's going to be off and you're going to be under? Yes. It happens, guys. That's okay. That's part of running a business. But what you got to realize is once you put yourself on this budget and you're spending 4% on equipment is what you're figuring yourself, don't go out and spend 30% on equipment that week because you think you can. Stay on the budget. Buy it as you can afford it. Save that 4% up until you have the number you need to go out and buy that equipment. And that goes with any one of these line items. So you're advertising. Maybe you want to turn around and do some kind of billboard. And I don't do billboards. I'm just using that as an example. And it's going to cost you more money than the 15% you normally figure. Okay, no problem. Cut back for a couple weeks. Cut your advertising back to 10%. Save that 5% in a separate fund over there. And then in a couple weeks, you know what? You got it, and you're not cutting into your budget that week because you saved it up over the weeks. And guys, just because, let's say you figure out your operating expenses is 89%, like I said, just because you do 70% that week, take that money and transfer it into another fund so you have it to spend on your company. Now, hopefully, you're going to go from $5,000, $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000 a week. But you now have a start on where to price your jobs and how to figure out a budget. I hope this helps somebody out. Like I said, I know it's a little bit of a A lot of numbers to throw at you, especially on a Facebook live video. I advise you to go back and watch it. Get you a pen, a pad, write it down. As you write it down, as I'm talking about it, you will see that it actually works. And the numbers work. You can only spend what you got. Another thing that I want to point out, a guy told me a long time ago, and it stuck with me: worry about the pennies. The dollars will take care of themselves. And when he first told me that, I'm like, dude, what? And think about this, guys. You watch these small items. Them big purchases don't end up being a big deal, because you're going to have to buy to make them big purchases over time. That's where you need to be watching your money. You're talking about, well, I'm losing money. I'm not making money. I'm not profitable. It's probably because you're not watching the small purchases. You're going to the store, you're buying, you know, drinks, cigarettes, and you're not even turning that receipt into your account. It's only $5. But figure that $5 out 6-7 times a week. Now it's $30 and $40. So that's where you need to watch your money, guys. All right, this is Joe, the Opinionated Window Cleaner. I hope this helps somebody out. Do me a favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, give me a like, give me a share, give me a comment if you don't mind. Let me know whether you agree with it. And like I said, these numbers can be adjusted to fit your individual needs. Your numbers don't have to be mine. Guys, I'm out here. Have a great day.